If you own a CPAP machine with a humidifier, you might wonder what type of water to use. While certain water types work better than others, it can be tempting to want to fill your tank with something as easy and convenient as filtered water from your fridge, or even regular old tap water. Just don't use anything flavored or carbonated. That would not be great for you nor the machine. Let's dive in and check out how each of these types of water affect your CPAP machine. Hi, I'm Taylor. Today we're talking about CPAP machines, and specifically, the best type of water to use with them. If your CPAP machine has a humidifier, you're probably aware that it needs to be filled with a fresh water supply each and every day. This helps ensure your machine stays hygienic and keeps you healthy. But what you might not know is that there's a specific type of water you should always use with your machine. I'm talking about distilled water. We're gonna break down what distilled water is and why you should be using it in your CPAP machine instead of tap water or bottled water. So a bit of a background, distillation is the process of boiling water until it has been completely vaporized. That vapor is then condensed back into liquid form. The great thing about distilling is that it completely removes every trace of minerals and bacteria. This is why distilled water is considered the purest form of bottled water on the market. Outside of CPAP machines, distilled water also has other practical uses. Hospitals, labs, and factories all commonly use distilled water since its purity prevents limescale buildup on machines and devices. Now that we know what distilled water is, let's talk about the types of water you shouldn't use with your CPAP machine. Let's start with tap water. We get it, tap water is readily accessible and more convenient to fill your CPAP machine with than distilled water you have to buy in a store. But here's the thing, tap water comes from either a well or your municipal water supply. In either case, the water is likely to contain minerals as well as additives like chlorine and fluoride. And while this water is usually perfectly safe to drink, using tap water in your CPAP machine can lead to harmful bacteria growth and scaling over time, even if you're diligent about cleaning the humidifier on a regular basis. If you can't get a hold of some distilled water easily, tap water should still be your last resort. Next is purified water. Purified water is filtered to remove certain chemicals and may also undergo reverse osmosis to remove microbes. But while this process is able to get rid of harmful bacteria, it may still contain some minerals. Most purified water you find in bottles began as municipal tap water. So while purified bottled water is cleaner than water straight out of the tap, you should still avoid using it with your CPAP machine if possible. And finally, we have mineral and spring water. Spring water originates from underground aquifers. It is then naturally filtered before it emerges above ground as a spring. Spring water, while refreshing, is also rich in minerals, so it's best not to use bottled spring water with your CPAP machine either. And like spring water, mineral water originates underground, but it must actually contain a certain amount of dissolved solid minerals to be labeled as such. As you can probably tell just by the name alone, mineral water isn't a good choice for your CPAP machine due to its, well, mineral content. It can be pretty inconvenient to keep up a constant supply of distilled water. It's heavy, takes up space, and if you're not keeping a close eye on how much you have, you may find yourself running to the store right before bed, which is why you may have seen or even own a home water distiller. They're widely available, reasonably priced, and easy to use. Water distillers are also perfectly safe as long as you follow proper instructions. But should you use home distilled water in your CPAP machine? Now that's a more complicated question. Companies that distill and bottle water sold to the public follow strict protocols for the distillation process. They use specialized equipment and have quality control procedures in place. Is water distilled at home better for your CPAP machine than tap or bottled water? Yeah, probably. But we recommend sticking to bottled distilled water just to be safe. The good news is that distilled bottled water is usually cheaper than other types of bottled water. And if you don't like the idea of wasting plastic, there are a few companies out there that are packaging distilled water in biodegradable materials. Bottom line, distilled water is the best way to keep your CPAP machine pristine and yourself healthy. If you want to read more, head over to sleepfoundation.org and check out our article on why you should use distilled water in your CPAP machine. There's a link to that article in the description below. And if you're looking for some tips on how to keep your machine clean and in perfect working condition, check out our video on how to clean a CPAP machine right here. That's all for now. Thanks for watching and sweet dreams, everyone.